You who don't know the story, let me take the next 4 hours and explain it to you. No, here we go, in like 30 seconds. Lori Vallow-Daybell has 2 children, JJ and Tylee. The children go missing. We start getting into her world. And at this point now, she is behind bars, locked up in Rexburg, Idaho. Her 5th husband, Chad Daybell, is locked up in an adjoining county. They're both facing charges, although they both believe the world will end on July 22nd. That's the doomsday. They share these beliefs. These children's remains were found in the backyard of husband number 5, Chad Daybell. But we have big news relevant to the charges involving Lori Vallow-Daybell. Chanley Painter, I know you've got the latest for us. What happened today?
Well, we heard from Lori Vallow-Daybell in a motion from her attorney, but she's entering pleas to the Madison County charges, those 3 misdemeanors that remain there. She's pleading not guilty to those charges. And to remind our viewers of what those charges are that remain in Madison County: resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. So in addition to pleading not guilty to those 3 charges, she's also asking the judge to lower her bond. The prosecutor dropped the 2 felony counts she was facing there in Madison County, those 2 felony child abandonment charges, in July. So now her motion goes on to read: the defendant asserts felony charges regarding previous bond setting were dismissed, and as such, bond should be reset to reflect current charges evident in the newly filed amended criminal complaint. Now remember, Daybell is being held in the Madison County Jail on $1 million bail for those 3 misdemeanors currently. That's why her lawyer is moving to have the lower bond. And in addition, she's also sitting in jail on a $1 million bail in Fremont County, where she faces those 2 felony counts of conspiracy. The motion goes on to demand a pretrial, Benny, and a jury trial on those 3 misdemeanors there in Madison County, even asserting a handful of affirmative defenses like lack of jurisdiction, venue, inability to comply. So finally, Vallow's request, it wraps up with the right at a later time to ask for a change of venue regarding the trial in Madison County on those 3 counts. That was just filed there in court, and breaking news, pleading not guilty to those charges.
Okay. Ashley Banfield, she's going to fight everything. At least now she's fighting everything. Do you think this fight continues?
I have 2 words for this. Oh, goody. Because the last thing that I wanted in this case was some deal where we never get to figure out why on earth she behaved the way she did after those children were put underground. Because if you think about this, the 3 misdemeanors that she says she wants a jury trial on, they're all about that investigation that showed up at her doorstep, that welfare check, where she basically sent the police on a wild goose chase long after those children hadn't been in front of her eyes for quite some time. So where did this mother think those children were that she was obstructing justice, allegedly, sending the police officers on their merry way, calling her friend, Melanie Gibb, suggesting that Melanie lie for her when the police call her, and just telling the kids with you? I can't wait to hear what her story is in a jury trial. I can't wait to find out why a mother who, if she's innocent, hasn't seen these children for quite some time, but wants her friend to lie about where they are and wants to lie to police officers about where they are. Thank God she wants a jury trial.
Ted, looking at this case and where we are, there's charges piling up, yet we still haven't gotten to the ultimate charge, right? Which are murder charges, whether it's relative to the children or a couple of dead spouses or a dead brother. Pick and choose which one you want. So at this point, still not facing the ultimate charges.
Yeah, and I think they're playing it beautifully, prosecutors, because they have time on their side. Both of these people are in jail and will be for the foreseeable future. take your time, because one of them, possibly Lori, may break a week from today when the next day she wakes up and all is fine. I mean, there's already a 7-day weather forecast out for Rexburg, Idaho. It's supposed to be sunny on doomsday. You'd think there'd at least be some sort of storm in the forecast. We're getting out of the wire. And I think after that, someone's going to crack.
Yeah, it could be. Julie, even if the bail is lowered on the charges in Madison County, I mean, she's not getting out. They don't have the $1 million to post. They just don't. They don't have it.
No, absolutely not. And I've got a really good creative legal argument, my friends, as to why that bail should never ever be lowered for her rather. So when you're in and you're in jail and you're awaiting a criminal case, or you're out on bond, whatever your bond is, when you've got pending criminal charges, the deal is you cannot commit any crimes. That's usually part of the bail conditions. You cannot commit any more crimes. Well, we know when she was in jail on these Madison County charges, she got more charges in Fremont County, the far worse charges for conspiring with Mr. Doomsday, in the concealment, the destruction of the evidence, being her children. So picking up those charges, if she has the audacity to go before a judge, you would think that judge would go, wait, hold on a second. Like, you want your bail lowered, or you want no bail for these misdemeanor charges? But, oh, by the way, while you were in on this, you managed somehow, Mom, while you were locked up, you managed to get even more charges and worse ones coming at you. I don't think so. And as to these 3 misdemeanors, sadly, these are going to be the least of her worries. At the end of the day, she just better hope that she doesn't have any murder charges coming her way. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think she will. And I've said I think they're coming before doomsday. I hope so. We've got a week, Vinny, so hopefully we'll see if investigators file something.
I know, time is slipping away here. Chanley, do we know what's coming up next? You know, there's so many things happening with both of them in different jurisdictions. What's next?
Right. Well, actually, there's a pre-trial conference in Lori Vallow's Madison County case with those 3 misdemeanors this Friday, July 17th. It's 12:30 Eastern time is when that will take place. And then, of course, she still has this preliminary hearing in Fremont County, the neighboring county, August 10th and 11th. And that is for those 2 felony conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, concealment of the remains of those children. And that's the same charge, of course, as her husband's facing, Chad Daybell, who's being held in the Fremont County Jail. His preliminary hearing, August 3rd and 4th.
Ashley, you know, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. These 2, I don't think there's any way for them to communicate unless they do it through their various attorneys. You know, his attorney communicating with her attorney and, you know, playing a game of telephone. But there's no way for them to talk or communicate. And I wonder how that's going.
So they can. Shockingly, I didn't think they'd be able to, but they can. It takes a little more paperwork than the average Zoom-like visit. They use a system like Zoom for the inmates to be able to have their visits. And if an inmate from another facility wants to visit with an inmate from said facility, that has to just be pre-approved paperwork. Certainly, it won't be private. There's no privilege there. So if they do want to have any lovebird kind of conversations, or at least, you know, plan how they're going to handle it in their cells when doomsday arrives next week, they technically could. Whether that has actually happened, I can't tell you. But I also wanted to tell you that the fact that Lori wants to have her bail reduced on these 3 misdemeanor charges, it occurred to me that this whole incident that yielded these charges was the welfare check, right? What happened hours after the welfare check? What happened hours after the police came knocking on her door asking questions? They took off. They took off. There's Julie. She's got it. They left the continent. So I just wish I could be in the room so I could feel the vibes of a judge that looks at this lawyer and this defendant and says, you want bail on these charges after that's what you did to get these charges? You took off? I just think the whole thing is laughable where they're not 2 children who are dead and buried with pets in a pet cemetery. I mean, this whole thing, you could not write this. You couldn't write this.
Yeah, Ted, as we're looking at the video of them down in Hawaii, I was just noticing again, I mean, it was like Chad had this makeover, because he was. I mean, he was pretty nerdy. Let's be honest. I mean, like really nerd. Not that nerd is bad. It's just a different look. I'm not demeaning nerd, but here he's got like, you know, he's got the hip haircut, and he's got, you know, his little blonde arm candy with her Hollywood glasses on, and they're carrying their bag of money around. To me, that speaks so many volumes about the motivation behind all of this. That's the life that Chad Daybell wanted, and he was never going to get it as a nerdy gravedigger.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, he and Tammy had a wonderful life in Utah, the good Mormons, and then he starts to slowly go off the deep end. But to your point, there was an end there. He met Lori, they fell in love, that's clear. Friends say it was clear, they hit it off. And then he starts to use this voodoo, all these visions, to start picking apart each one of their lives until it was just those two on a beach in Hawaii. And there's old Chad.
Look at what he's wearing, Ted.
Yeah,
Ted, look at those khakis
and
in that shirt.
And
it's a short-sleeve dress shirt.
Cut, yeah.
You know what else was in that bag?
The
when you see
short
those pictures of them in Hawaii? This was one of those little details I got out of the indictment that made me sick to my stomach. In one of those bags was Ty Lee's bank card. And apparently while they were having this lovely wedding with glamour shots, dancing on the beach with a dead girl buried in the pet cemetery, they're using the bank card. The bank card had been used. The ATM card of her dead daughter was being used. So think about that in one of their pockets or the bags or whatever it is they're carrying in their possession while you look at those pictures. That dead daughter's bank card was being used. Sickening, just sickening.
And Julie Grant, the other part of all of this, Julie, is that there's the hands. Their whole relationship was based on some level of spirituality and religion and the second coming and all this stuff. And all their actions just are so contrary to all of that, all of those teachings. I mean, the first thing you do is take care of your kids, and you take care of your family, and you're faithful to your, all these things. They did the opposite, but they couched it all in some religious belief.
Exactly, Vinny. And I think it makes it even more offensive. I mean, this conduct, we all know it is reprehensible, but to make it even worse, it's done under the guise of religion, as far as we can tell. And for people who are faithful people, God-fearing people, people who are spiritual folks, this is just downright offensive. And if they are, what does she call herself, a god meant to save all the people? She better pray to save herself, because if I'm prosecutors and I have the evidence to go for murder charges against both of them, I'm going to consider making it a capital case as well. So I think Mr. and Mrs. Doomsday better start praying or invoking whatever kind of religious things that they do to save themselves. Think about a plea, think about something, because I think big charges are coming. And every day I'm hoping to hear more from these investigators, as are so many other folks across the country watching this behavior, because these are parents and they should have been protecting those two beautiful children.
Yeah, and if I was the prosecutor, I would file those charges on the 22nd. That's just the way I would do it.
Yep.
Anyhow, thanks so
You
much,
got it.
everyone. A lot more to talk about.